Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Common Freakin' Sense Show. I'm your host today, coming to you from Central Wisconsin. I am Pastor Eric, and we are here today to try to stuff some common freaking sense down your throat. Welcome my other co-host, way out on the left coast. There's Chris. Say hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. That's right, guys. Coming to you from far behind enemy lines on the Pacific left coast.
You are.
Chris, Green Beret medic, husband, and father, ready to get into this. And look who's back. Back again. Kay is back. Back again.
I mean,
and she's down on the bottom, so say hey, Kay.
I'm on the top for me. You're on the bottom.
Oh, really?
Hi, hey, y'all, guys. Yeah, I guess the orientation changes. I was something like that.
So you're
bottom.
oriented now? You're oriental now?
Orientated, some would say.
Yes. Hey, we can't do that on this show.
Whoa.
I'm rubbing my eyes, guys, okay?
Gotcha.
Cousins.
Is your pigtails a little tight there? Is that what's really going on?
Oh, no.
Just one. No. Don't cut it off. I'm part of the family.
You know how Chinese people name their children, right?
Yes.
They
yes. You're talking about the can down the steps?
They throw the pots down the stairs and whatever.
Down the pots, the cans,
I've heard that one too.
Ting, ting, tong, ding, dong.
Yeah. Well, just a little bit for everybody as we get going on this show.
Racial humor always goes a long way. Come on.
And we at least we push it as far as we can. And we're glad to come to you today.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you from rainy Wisconsin. How's it going out there? We're experiencing rain here, and it's the beautiful north central part of the country. We are at a whopping 58 degrees right now. It is beautiful. We've gotten the heat out of here. The humidity's gone.
Clean my deer rifle, put on some flannel, and
it actually had that feel this afternoon. I thought, oh man, where's high school football? This is what it feels like.
Oh, Friday Night Lights, baby.
Yeah.
Some of the maples are already tinging red.
Right.
I kid you not. They are beautiful.
Well, it's going to be a long winter, I think. Not to be like the almanac guy, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling it.
So the lilacs out by the garage were smelling beautiful 3 weeks ago, and today the leaves are gone.
They're no more.
I mean, they're just gone.
And
so
there they were.
The lilacs are bald.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
the
bald.
Lilacs are bald. We've gotten the lawn machine out. Looking forward to having Carson here because I like to put him on the little two-banger tractor that we have.
He's going to love that.
And we're going to put him up on there and turn him loose in the yard. And I'm probably just going to laugh my head off because
I was going to say you're going to go out and the garage is going to be gone is what's going to happen.
I'm like, do I tell him where the brakes are or do I let him just find out?
I probably want to start with that. I would start with brakes before you even get to the left right part of it. I would start with the stop go thing.
Oh, this is my 11-year-old grandson that I'm talking about. Looking forward to having him around and the things that he's going to get to stay with me for a little while. I'm really looking forward to that. And shooing mom and dad off and going, yeah, I got him.
It's okay.
Oh, trust me, Hannah and I are planning on Mrs. CFC and we're planning on taking the new truck and maybe going down to Devil's Lake State Park for a couple of nights.
Oh,
looking for a reason to use the 4-wheel drive feature.
Oh, I was going to say, looking for a fifth kid, huh? What?
Is that...
Well, I made a joke with her. I said we got one more slot in this car to fill, and she did not think that was funny.
Oh,
you got the look.
Mrs. CFC didn't acquiesce.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my word.
So anyway,
it's a little game we play. Dance a little.
Just keep it between yourselves, okay?
Right.
That's all I ask.
I can tell you this though, guys. I always win, at least so far.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, for our listening audience, just letting them know. So here we are in the central United States, Wisconsin. They're out on the left coast. They're going to be leaving. We're going to get to see them
left. 1 out of 10,
very soon. and looking forward to seeing this family. We're all going to meet up and we're
Gonna get
going
a
to
new
a
family.
wedding. We're going to
Yeah,
a
you're gonna
wedding.
get-
Yeah. Not because of us though. Like one's
Yeah.
grafting in. Yeah.
Yes.
We're grafting one in.
Dang it,
and
guys!
we
The only time I get to see is when we add another person to the family.
literally by birth,
And then there was one.
by hook and by
You know who I'm
crook,
talking
you
to.
know.
Shut up.
And then there was one.
Not yet. I'm not 30 yet. You don't get to make those jokes till I'm 30. Okay.
Checks watch.
Ouch.
Got it. All right. Sounds goody.
Well, hey,
Yeah,
think about it this
so-
way. Me and you will never be in the same decade, Mr. 12 years older than me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the way that
Yeah.
time works.
Yeah.
You got a handle on that one.
Congratulations.
All right, I'm leaving both of you out of this conversation.
Look,
I'm
I
not
hope
getting into that one.
You started
That's for
singing,
sure.
You started singing your favorite punk rock bands from when you were a teenager, and you're like, you know the song, right? I'm like, who is this? And you're like, you know the song, right? I'm like, you're over 30. Shut up. It was great.
Yeah, I look in the mirror and I just instantly age now. It's like that scene in the end of Saving Private Ryan with Matt Damon, or the scene in the beginning where he's like old, right? But then he like grafts and becomes the young guy. Well, it's like that, but in reverse. It's just like
I was thinking more
ages.
of the Santa Claus, and after he ties his hair and shaves and everything, and then
Oh,
as he's
right.
looking in the mirror,
Yeah.
Morgan
Yep.
Freeman saw
Big
himself
trouble.
cry in
Trouble.
year
big
one.
trouble,
Yes.
big trouble.
Oh my word.
All right. Well, we're done talking over each other. It's time for us to get into the show. And so I'm
Never.
going to bring in Chris right here because he is going to unleash some of our common freaking sense on us today, especially as we start talking about the major thing that a lot of people just aren't talking about. And
Yeah.
that is going to be our economy, specifically our stock market. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but it crashed. At least that's what they're calling it. Go ahead, Chris, take it away.
There it was. Gone.
Go on.
Yeah, so this is basically like the only thing that I saw when I woke up this morning, like that everybody was talking about. So somewhere it was pre-trading for the United States, and I'm not a big stock market guru guys by any means, so don't take any of this analysis. Take it all with a grain of salt, because I'm learning as you're learning, but this is all important to any of us that have like a 401k or anything. But basically, Japan lost, I think, upwards of like its entire stock market crashed by like 18% today. We woke up, the Dow was down 1,000 points. It was the worst single day for the Dow Jones since Black Monday in 1987, which some of you guys out there might be old enough to remember that.
Yes, I do.
Things are very bad. Robinhood, if any of you guys know anything about some of the at-home like trading apps that you can get, like Robinhood, they were the first ones this morning to just halt all trading for the next 24 hours, and they said you cannot trade stock on the platform right now, which is kind of a big deal. You can tell when banks start panicking and they're running stuff like that, which Robinhood's played those games before,
Sure.
and has even halted trading on certain stocks when they start getting shorted and stuff.
Yep.
So I don't know why anybody does business with them anymore when they can just basically go in and tell you like, oh, you're not allowed to make money today.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry, not working today. Find another platform.
pretty big deal. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, like I said, because I'm not a financial wizard. This isn't my wheelhouse. But I do think that it's poignant to point out that, or at least what I believe, is this response that we're seeing in the market. If you look at what's going on in American politics and look, when Donald Trump was coming off of that, the assassination attempt on his life, everything was like rolling high during the RNC. Spirits were up. You saw that stock market like immediately start to grow and grow, and it was edging up. And then last couple weeks, with the DNC getting ready to go into its thing, and all of a sudden the Democratic nominee being unceremoniously like swapped out all Indiana Jones style on the,
We'll talk about that later.
with Kamala Harris, who, it's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but we all have won as many primaries as Kamala Harris has, which is pretty cool, I think. Yeah. So she's never received a single vote. 14 million, big old goose eggs. 14 million people voted for Joe Biden in the primary. He had the delegates, and they just said, nah, you know what? This is who we're going to run. They swap him out. And then here we are. And now you see the markets are tanking because look at some of the stuff that she has said on the campaign trail. She is like flat out talking about equity. I don't know if you guys have seen the sound bites of her, but she comes out and says the communist thing, the socialist thing out loud, where she goes, look, for us, it's not about equality. She was like, you know, equality is not important. It's equity. And we want to make sure, this is a quote, you guys can go look it up. She said, we want to make sure that everybody winds up in the same place. Winds up in the same place. And, you know, it just turns out, really funny thing, capitalistic market systems don't like that kind of talk.
No.
Right? Because we all know how communists deal with markets. And so anyway, the market's responding. It's going down. I will say this, if you guys have stuff in there, don't panic. Don't short sell and dump it. You know, they're called unrealized gains and losses for a reason, because you're not actually looking at dollar signs right there. You're looking at a potential amount of money that you could make on it. If you were to sell it right now, that number goes up and it goes down. You know, portfolios like that are meant to be looked at for a long period of time. You know, the market absolutely can recover. And I think under a Donald Trump presidency, we're going to see massive gains in the stock market like we've never seen before, as America moves back toward being energy independent, which he's promised, and as we start working on putting like tariffs on other countries that are stealing business from us, and a lot of the stuff. Like, if there's one thing that Donald Trump can absolutely run on and nobody can hit him on, it's that under his presidency we had the best economic policies of my lifetime.
Business savvy
of my lifetime.
He is it.
So, but yeah, that's the story that I want to start off with today. And if you haven't heard about it, then you're probably not a serious person. Everybody that I know that's at least halfway tied into the news, but you should have heard about that. That was going on. That is today. That is
today.
And
there is one other thing though that has led big into it, and people ought to put some research into this. And let's talk a second about that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, China connection. All right. I didn't even know this, but it was brought out that one of the things that China has done is that they have invested billions into the U.S. stock market. Well, a little bit of a problem with investing billions into our stock market when your economy starts tanking.
Right.
And with the Chinese economy tanking, what has happened is that China, now they're not allowed actually to invest directly. They invested indirectly. China, by the way, has had the same interest rates for the last 20 years. I didn't know that, just found that out. And so they've been operating under the and so, you know, when the government can control the interest rate, you know, so that's kind of where things are. And so people have gone to China. You know,
you mean when the government can control insert item here?
Yeah, right. That, which, by the way, that's actually the definition of fascism. Do you know how many people do not use? They throw around "you fascist, you fascist," and that's not the definition of the term. So much so, I don't think if you go to a 1950s dictionary and to a modern dictionary and look up, we have so bastardized the word that the definition is not the same over the years.
To the people that throw it around like that, it means person I don't like or agree with politically.
Yes, so I call you a fascist.
Here's another thing. I don't think you understand the meaning of that word, and you have totally butchered it. Insert whatever word you want. To be honest, they've done it to almost every single part of the English language. So, you know.
Right.
Now, this is where I need to back up and make a correction. I said China. You know what? I think it actually might be Japan and the Nikkei that is caused this, not China. And so anyway, but their interest rate...
They were the first market to start tanking.
Correct.
Which cascaded this,
Correct. But they started raising their interest rates 6-8 months ago. So much so, and our one, Warren Buffett, anybody knows who that is? Actually, starting about 6 months ago from him, he saw that the interest rates for the Nikkei was going up. He cashed out. And a lot of other people were like, Warren Buffett. What is he doing? And
he made another
watch.
very interesting move too, and pulled a ton of his stock out of Apple at the same time that he was doing all this.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
And then he pulled us, and so of all the big tech firms, Apple ended up getting hit the hardest because there's like this whole trend for people that are just like, well, if you don't know what to do,
Follow
you
Warren
know,
Buffett.
follow Warren Buffett. That's like a thing, right? And it's just like, however,
that is a thing.
but
Wow.
he becomes a bellwether. And so when he did that, a lot of other people panic sold and
It sold,
shorted.
and it really
It's not
affected.
technically a short, but they dumped their Apple
Yeah.
stock, and so then Apple ended up getting hit harder than everybody else.
So what has
Mhm.
happened over the years is people have gone to the very low interest rate across the world and have borrowed money from
Now, when you
Japan.
say the Nikkei, what are you talking about?
Nikkei is Japan's stock market, as like
okay.
like
So I was
the
gonna say,
Amex. We run the
okay, 'cause I was gonna
Amex.
say
We
their
run
dollar
the
unit
New
is the
York Stock
yen.
Exchange. Yeah, no, the
Sorry.
Nikkei is their stock exchange.
Got you. Okay.
And so anyway, so people would go and borrow from Japanese banks around the world at 2%, bring that money over into the US stock market, make 8 and 9% off of it in the US stock market. And because it's worth paying off the interest rate on the other one, and you're still making money, and it's not your money, it's borrowed money.
Look, there was a lapse over between the London Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Nikkei. I'm just really good at what I do. Making that reference, guys.
So what happens when the earnings go down to 7 and 6%, and the interest rates that people have been using to borrow money has gone up to 9 and 10%, now you're upside down. And it's like, I got to get that money out of the stock market, and I got to pay off that loan because now I'm having to pay. I'm not making any money off of it. And so now you're getting that withdrawal from stocks. And it was a slow trickle. It was a lot of the why leading into today was doing this. And then something about, you take that information, and then something about a war in the Middle East where all the oil is. And that's what, that's what everybody started doing. And here we are.
The one thing most people don't understand.
A war in Europe between, Europe's largest producer of wheat and Europe's largest producer of oil is happening right now too, which is messing with the world markets. And so, we
food
really
and energy right there.
Yeah. Can we just get back to precedented times? I am so sick of unprecedented times. But no, that's 100%. That's where we're at.
And
so
most people, honestly,
stay frosty out there, everybody.
Most people don't realize is that when one part of the world has something major going on, it will affect everything, just cascading outwards. Whether you don't feel it immediately, but you will feel it eventually. That's just how entangled everybody is.
And those ripples, right? And so it's like everybody likes this idea of globalism, but you're absolutely right. That's one of the things that comes with it. And so since the world markets and world trade is so
dominoes
intertwined now, right? Then you are gonna feel it, and so
it's gonna hurt.
No,
and so why should we suffer? Because
especially suffering.
Here's the crazy thing, though. We are the best of my knowledge. Now, Ukraine is actually pretty good to be in the same thing, except our geography sets us apart.
Yeah.
But other than that, we, to really look at it, we are the only free country in the world that, because of our geography, we have everything we need and can stand alone.
Yeah.
We could.
We have everything we need and we can stand alone. And that is one of the things that actually makes us a world leader, is that by itself.
Just the sheer diversity in not only geography, but just it's incredible. And it blows so many people's minds. Sorry, I'm done.
Yeah, I think you told me this one time, but you said, like the average American has no concept of European history. And I got to experience that when I went over and I saw a castle in Germany, and I'm like, you're looking at it and it's like each row of that castle represents 500 years of monarchs that ruled there. And then you're looking up and you're like, that's 15 stories of statues intricately carved. But the average European has no concept of the amount of space that we have in the United States. And when they come over here, it's just like the terrain just stretches out forever.
And the biggest,
and there's places
and
where you can go
yet-
where you drive all day and don't see another person.
yeah,
And yet, you take the United States. I was just looking at this the other day. You take the United States and compare it to the size of Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil by itself is almost the size of the United States in South
it's
America.
huge. Yeah.
It's huge. You
Mhm.
take the United States and Russia. This is hilarious. Russia is X amount of times larger in landmass than the United States,
3.
and yet
Right.
we have 4 times the economy of
Yeah.
what Russia
It's a
can
frozen
produce.
wasteland.
That's the reason why you can't do with
I've-
it what can be done with us. I mean, look how much larger Canada is than us.
Yeah, and
But you
It's
can't do
unusable.
with Canada what you can do with the
I've
United
seen-
States. So anyway,
I've seen so many
Go ahead.
people are like, we can't go see our family that much. They're about like a 40-minute train trip away or 40-minute car drive away. And like, oh my gosh, I'm not from Britain. I'm 2 hours away from Britain. And I had another British person. He's been traveling for the last 2 years. He's been traveling America. And he's like, I want to move to
Hello.
America. He's hilarious. And he's like, you don't understand. Literally traveled a large portion of the Midwest, and I was on one singular road for like 10 hours straight, and it was one of the interstates going along out there.
I-90.
In the
Yeah.
desert.
You're getting ready to-
and he's like, hold on.
and
No, you don't understand. To them, you are basically from London because you're only 2 hours away. You're not that far. You're
Yeah.
really not that far. So
but it's a whole nother world.
It is.
Well, that's the whole. If you've ever seen My Fair Lady, the whole point of Professor Henry Higgins and the studying of the British dialect, he tells in the very first scene, he was like, I can place a man within 2 streets of where he's from in London just based on the way he speaks. And then he goes on with the whole song, hear them down in Soho Square, dropping H's everywhere, speaking English any way they like, But that's the whole point of that movie is like, because it's like, yeah, if you go to Britain, like they'll be able to tell you, to us, to our ears, it just sounds British, but they'll be like, they know what a person from Manchester sounds like versus a person from like the upper, gentile
Upper
side of
ward,
London sounds
if
like.
you will.
Like they
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like instantly.
Well, it's like us breaking
Oh.
down the states as well, and they're like, you all sound, they all know what a southern accent is, but they don't know what a Midwestern to northern accent is, even to eastern, but they all know what a Texas accent is. Southern, that's great, hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
To them-
Texas accent, Georgian accent,
Right.
North Carolina.
But to them-
I mean, they're all different.
But to
They're all
them,
different.
Southern is the base American accent to them. That's like, oh, that's what an American sound like is Southern. And I'm like, no, I don't
If you're
sound like
gay
that.
American. Oh,
I
well,
mean,
oh,
just on this for
nope,
our
bud.
listening audience, just as we are right here, we're getting ready for this wedding that's coming up. Chris is on his way in. And how long is it going to take you to get back here?
yeah, it's a 28-hour straight trip if you drive it straight through, but we're breaking it up over a few days.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, that's
Which,
absolutely
one more thing about this story that I do have to say.
Okay.
It's just kind of the way that God does things. But I had some of my money tied up in Bitcoin. The crypto market took
Right.
an absolute dump. Bitcoin's at the lowest
Who
it's
has
been
it?
in
I haven't paid any
years.
attention.
Yeah, it's very interesting because usually crypto does better when the stock market goes bad. It's usually an inverse
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah.
They all dumped this time. And I was able to pull my money out a day before the market absolutely crashed, and I was able to use it to put a nice down payment on a vehicle. And so that's just a God thing. It's like,
Congratulations.
like if I would have waited 24 more hours, like yeah, my
you
crypto
would
would
have
have been worth
nothing.
pennies on the dollar, and I'd been like, well,
Change.
that sucks. So yeah.
Wait.
Hey, if you guys are in crypto, now's a good time to buy the dip. I'm just saying.
I know, right? Here you go.
Mm.
Ready if it'll load. It's
All
kind of
right.
it's kind of waiting.
All right, so let's grind and find. We're going to
All right,
change it over
moving-
here just a little bit.
Moving.
No, it's not.
Thank you.
It's not.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't hear it.
So moving right along, this is what I want to think. I think this is a much more important story than people are giving it credit for, and it's not getting a lot of publicity right now because of the market and because of the media fawning over Kamala Harris and everything that's going on with her and basically trying to carry water for her. But this dropped just a couple days ago. Representative Jamie Raskin was caught on a video. He was doing some kind of grip and grin thing or whatever, I don't know, talking to insiders, and they got him on camera basically saying, it's going to be up to us, he says, to invoke the 14th Amendment on January 6th of 2025 and, tell all those hoarding mobs of Trump supporters that I'm sorry, but your man cannot be president because he's guilty of insurrection. And so this article goes along with that. It's from Axios Scoop, top Democrat working on bill responding to Trump ballot ruling. And so they're trying to push this legislation through, which is basically going to ban Donald Trump from being president based on the fact that he allegedly committed insurrection. And I think this is such bull crap. And it shows the way that liberals are willing to work inside and outside of the system all at the same time. There's a thing that's like fundamentally about being a conservative and caring about the institutions of the United States, where it's like we want to preserve the institution. And so it's like if you beat a conservative in court, you go, well, there's the appeals process, but if you go through the appeals process and it doesn't work out, then you kind of got to go, well, I take the L, I tried to do it the legal way, and the court didn't rule in my favor, so what am I going to do? I'll have to go and figure something else out, right?
Well, that's called respecting the law.
The institutions, that's my entire point.
Usually
Liberals
logical
don't
thinking.
have that compunction.
No.
They are perfectly okay with working inside of the institution when it benefits them and then burning the institution down when it doesn't. Case in point, pack the Supreme Court. It's not ruling the way that we want it to rule. Well, we'll just pack it and put more people on there.
Yeah.
We can't get and then going on with this example, they tried indicting him. Nothing came out of it. They tried to bankrupt his business. Talking about Donald Trump, of course. He's beaten all those cases. They weren't able to do that. They tried to keep him. They the media smears him every single day. Right? It's like, oh, Kamala Harris, why are you so awesome? That's the question she gets asked. Donald Trump, why are you such a racist? Why do you hate black people? It's like, first of all, what a horrible thing to say. It's like if you saw him during that sit down. And so it's like none of this is working. They've indicted him. They've gone after his business. They most recently, he was almost assassinated. They've tried putting him in jail. And it's like, dude is Teflon Don at this point. And so now they're like, well, if none of the rest of that works, then we're just going to make up a ruling. And that's all that this is.
Right.
Like, don't get it twisted. They are just making up a ruling.
Yes, it is.
And we'll
it's
just
made up.
say that he's an insurrectionist. Is one of the reasons that they've said it. And they've been trying to pin that convicted felon insurrectionist. That's all you hear about him. Right. And there's a reason they had the
he is a
January 6th
convicted
show
felon,
trials.
but it was not for insurrection.
Well,
Not for what you think it is.
He hasn't been sentenced yet. So in all technicality under the law, he is not convicted yet. Supposedly was found guilty.
Technicality of the law, he has been convicted. The vote was taken and he was found guilty. That's a conviction. What has not happened is he has not been meted out with he hasn't been sentenced, which is meted out your punishment. That's the only thing he hasn't. He has been convicted.
Met with your punishment.
I do believe, I want to push back on this a little bit. You guys can actually get down and fact check us below. But I do believe the entire technicality is convicted is when the judge swings the gavel right after the vote is taken. We, the jury, find the defendant, blah, blah, blah. And then,
guilty. That's a conviction.
That is the conviction.
That is the conviction.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word.
But you're right.
Word on that.
I mean, he has the sentencing to go through yet. That's where the judge meets out the punishment.
Either way, to get back on my train of thought, they've done all this stuff. It's not working. So now they're just like, well, we're just going to make up a ruling out of whole cloth, kind of like they did for all the felonies that they brought against him already. We're just going to make something up. We're going to say he's an insurrectionist. And so then because of that, he can't be president because of, look, it says right here in the 14th Amendment, that if you're found guilty of insurrection, which is very specific wording in the 14th Amendment, then you cannot. And by the way, it doesn't actually say president of the United States in the 14th Amendment. It does say an officer of the United States. It says that. So there's also, if this goes before the Supreme Court, there's a couple of ways that might not stand up because it's like vice president and president isn't necessarily named on the list. It just says an officer of the United States. If found guilty of committing insurrection, 14th Amendment goes back. 13, 14, and 15 come right after the Civil War. The reason the 14th Amendment is there is because all of the people that led an insurrection against the United States seceded and tried to set up the Confederate States of America. They were not allowed to hold office in the federal government after that. That's why it was set up in the first place. But they're just going to say that he's guilty of insurrection. He is not only has he not been found guilty of insurrection, this is very important, he has never even been charged
with insurrection. Right.
He has never even been indicted for insurrection. Not a single person that is having their 8th Amendment and 14th Amendments thrown out the window that are still waiting for trials over the January 6th incidents being a part of the riots, not a single one of them have ever been charged with insurrection.
Right.
Not one single person has been found guilty of insurrection.
Right.
And yet they're
say
just gonna
why? Say why? Because you have to have evidence. And what did the FBI say about Donald Trump?
Well, there wasn't enough evidence to charge him with insurrection.
to even
but that's
indict him. Wasn't enough evidence to indict him. Do you know what it takes to indict somebody?
Well, the old saying is you can indict a ham sandwich.
You can't.
You can indict somebody for anything.
I accuse you. Here is my evidence. See, you happen to be there when it happened. So I think it's good enough. Here, jury. And by the way, there is no defense attorney at an indictment hearing. Nobody stands up and
you're not being
defends
tried
you.
with anything yet.
Correct. And so all it is a presentation of the evidence, and you look at a jury, and 98% of all juries go, well, we trust that guy. And if he thinks that there's that evidence and there's more, and he says that, then yes, we indict you.
Why not?
Yeah, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. It's a real, it briefs good on paper. I mean,
paper.
But
the problem is,
it goes back.
The original court was the judge's job to go, that's not admissible here. That's not admissible here. Sorry, you can't do that. You can't. Now they can say anything, and a judge doesn't even open his mouth during an indictment hearing.
No. But I think it's worth foot stomping on it again. Like, he's never even been indicted with insurrection, but that doesn't matter to these these liberals. They're just going to say it and then just try to say it enough times that it becomes true and push it through. And so that's going back to my original point, why I think this story is more important than people are giving it credit for. Like, this is indicative of the liberal mindset. They will work inside the system when it works for them. And then when it doesn't, they'll burn the mother down with all of us inside of it, because overthrowing the institution is the point anyway.
And somebody may say, CFC, you're just, I don't know, what would you say? You're just borrowing trouble. You're just looking at things that aren't really happening. They can't, you're right. He's never been even indicted of it. They can't do that. Well, let's remind everybody out there that they don't have their own rules for operating their own party. Says that they can't do what they just did, and they did it. They had to go all the way back. They need a nominee. They weren't in time for it. The state of Ohio went all the way out of their way so that they could get the person on the ballot, did all that kind of stuff. And they did not actually. Ohio went outside of their law. Yeah, they stretched their rules too in order to get them on the ballot, because they didn't want to look bad, and leave them off the ballot. And what they did, there's a reason for those rules. Okay. So anyway, they did all that, and it's like, guy dropped out. Well, hey, there's only one place where you guys can go and get another candidate, and that's going to be at your national convention. No, let's redo this. Let's just, she's on the ticket. Why can't she just take my place? The people didn't nominate her. That's the way this is supposed to work. I mean, that's what it says in your own operational mandate.
There's a process.
What is that? Operatus. The Latin term, operandi, whatever. And
modus operandi. The more
yeah, there
you
you go.
kept
Modus
saying
operandi.
it, the more I was
the
like,
deeper I couldn't get it. And yeah, and I'm the
Modus
one who
operandi.
took 2 years of Latin, not you guys. Anyway, it's not there, but here we are, and they did it. Nobody. I heard somebody today that said, shouldn't they be sued just over the fact of, we have a way you're supposed to operate. Somebody's got to hold their feet to the fire and go, it's in your own manual. Do it right.
Okay, that's great, but
But
who's going to do it?
These
Here
people
we
don't
are.
care about that. They care. I have the power.
Yeah.
I do what I want. That's what it is. It's just up until now, at least it had the guise of legitimacy, right?
Yeah.
At least up until now. And they were more sophisticated with how they pushed their propaganda around about it. Things are starting to move so fast that they really have just thrown out the baby with the bathwater.
They did.
As far
Yes.
as treating the American people
Yes.
with at least some modicum of respect. Like, dude, the people will never buy that. Now they're just
It's
like,
gone.
these idiots, they'll do whatever.
They'll do whatever. Yeah. And
largely they're, you're proving them right, which pisses me off, America.
Well, the thing is
Like-
even if you don't believe it, then we're going to get you scared, because then we have a bunch of crazy left crackheads that will give them the incentive to chase you down and to scare you and to cause you harm.
Yeah. UK's on
And
fire right now.
Literally, anything and everything bad's happening. Even if you don't believe
peaceful Muslim rioters.
Ooh, more peaceful protests? Really? Wow.
We need to talk about that.
We
need to talk about that. That's not on our list to talk about, but we really do need to talk how it flipped from a patriot protest to a Muslim riot.
Hours. Just hours.
Just that quick.
Just like that.
It was crazy.
And it's just turned. The Muslims, it was a patriotic protesting that was going on because of a stabbing.
Right.
Because of a stabbing.
By patriotic, it was the protests were about mass migration and how a lot of people inside the UK are upset because the government over there, their left-wing government, has a very pro mass migration stance. They're bringing, millions of Muslims into the country. They're setting up enclaves where the Muslims are literally saying, like, autonomous zones, because we were talking about this,
Paris,
where they say we rule here under Sharia law, and the bobbies, like, they don't go in and they don't mess with them. They just let them police themselves. So now you have autonomous zones
for Sharia
that don't operate under British law. And so the people were protesting this, and then all of a sudden the call went out, to the little caliphate that they've got there in the UK.
Yeah.
And everybody rallied there. And then you see all the videos that we've been seeing of mobs. Like marching down the street, screaming, Aloha snack bar, running into pubs and restaurants and dragging Brits out into the street and beating them mercilessly.
Yeah, based off of, I was born here, this is my country, you moved here, and now you're ruining it, you're turning it to crap, and it's you shouldn't be able to do that. And it's, well, screw you, we have massive numbers and we're not afraid to use violence because we don't follow your laws where we
That is
go.
exactly how they do it, is by mass and population.
And so I put out on X today under the Common Freaking Sense handle. If you guys want to go follow us on X, it's Common Freaking Sense over there. Just take all the vowels out. But yeah, I said I hope you like what you're seeing in the UK right now.
This is us.
Because I said it's coming to a U.S. city near you real soon.
This will be us if we don't do something about it. Yeah. And really, you don't even have to put it's common sense. You don't even have to put it to the cultural ethnic thing. You don't have to do that at all. There's a clash of culture that's going on. and a culture of violence and a culture of decency. I'm going to put it like that, because if you to frame it any other way, you're going to get into some geopolitical religious argument, and it's not even that.
This is Western civilization versus Eastern civilization.
Yeah. So the prime minister, I saw the footage, goes, and him and his executive assistant and is following him, and they're laying flowers at the where the incident of the stabbing of one of the children were. And as they're laying it there, all three of them were girls. And as they were laying the flowers there outside of the building around the wrought iron fence, a guy started saying, "What are you going to do, Mr. Prime Minister? What are you going to do? Is it going to be my daughter next? Is it going to be my daughter?" And just started screaming at him. Is it going to be my daughter? That's powerful. What it's breaking down to.
And I also saw videos of British. I was a spokesperson of some kind, but he was saying, like, we are going to find you, and he wasn't talking about the Muslims. He was talking about the quote unquote right wing, the anti-mass migration protesters.
Right wing. Yep,
they are right. Fascists, even, I've heard. That's a callback.
Here we are.
But talking to them about how, it's like, we are mobilizing the police. They are coming to find you. You're going to get a knock at your door if you were there, just like they did with the January 6th people. And it's like, that's who the British government has decided to crack down on. And it's absolutely
or like
despicable.
You at Seattle, the Seattle people. Remember,
right.
6 blocks of Seattle was anher country for a while.
Jazz.
Oh, I couldn't even remember the name of it.
They named it.
I remember. But
yeah.
But where was I going with that? But no, I'm just gonna foot stomp it again. Speak up for the people in the back. Like, this is leftism. This is the inevitable outcome of it. Shut up. You're going to do what we tell you to do. We're going to import whoever we decide to import, because there are shock troops on the ground. There's a reason they like low context, third world individuals, because they're very easy to control. I mean, you're just looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? These people, right? And so it's like, they're very easy to control. They're low context people. They're shock troops. News for you, America. Like, I'll take a bunch of people that import here from Syria or Somalia, because those mothers are hard people. All right. And when it comes down to riots in the streets, they'll kick in your apartment door. They'll kill and eat your animals right in front of you, take a crap inside of your living room, and then leave, break everything, and go on to the next one. And there won't be a daggone thing that you can do about it. These are hard people. They're used to living hard. Mm-hmm. You're not. You've gotten soft.
Yep.
Right. And so that's another thing on top of all this. And there's a reason they're importing them. And it's shut up. You'll do what we tell you to do. We'll import whoever we decide to import. We've got the power. We're going to run this way however we want. And if you don't like it, and if you try to push back on it, we'll just destroy the system even faster. Sit down, shut up, put the trans fat in your mouth, fatty. Here's another shot in the arm, more bread and circuses. Cue up the next episode on Netflix. Don't look at what's going on behind the curtain. Don't worry about
the man another back Amazon there. Prime Day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the drones will come and drop off your
whatever you ordered.
There's a couple discounts.
And we'll take it away
Uber.
from your social, and we'll take it away from your social credit.
Gosh.
Right.
Yeah, there's a couple discounts heading on Uber, DoorDash, new this.
When Kamala Harris says it's about equity and we want everybody to wind up in the same place, that is the place that they're talking about.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what they meant.
Yeah.
It's not this socialistic nonsense dream about all of a sudden everybody's going to have a mansion and everybody's going to have an electric car and everybody's going to have an 80-inch TV. That's what you think it means because you're getting free crap. Because it's just about, You're a low context idiot that just wants free stuff, and you're lazy and you don't want to work
The
for
only
it.
reason I believe
Right?
you'd get a free electric car is then, I'm sorry, you can only travel around your city because you only have a range of 200 miles. And so if you go any
I bought
farther
a
than
big
that,
freaking truck. That's what I just did.
find me in the mountain.
Why?
I
Because
dare
screw
you.
you. Because that's why.
One last thing, and let's take a round of it with this
got me a
thought.
little got me a little heated with that one.
I want to bring this back in because it all works. There was a president, and I was too immature at the time to understand. Yeah, his name was Ronald Reagan. I was too immature at the time. I was a teenager, and he was in office, and really didn't appreciate the things that he did. But he did make a statement in one speech. I might get the. I'm going to give you the gist of it, but but I don't have the quote off the top of my head. But the greatest sense of feeling comes from the ability to self-rule. The greatest source of freedom comes from the ability to self-rule. And that is the purpose of the Constitution, is when we agree on the Constitution, all of us submit ourselves to that authority, and there is where we take our self-rule from. It's the same way about Christians. We take our authority away. The Bible becomes the thing that rules over us, and we submit ourselves to the Word of God. Well, the Constitution is the same way. It has the same principle to it. Okay, this is what we all have agreed on, and now we will submit ourselves to it, and that is what self-rule is all about. So we limit, and this is where the real word liberty really jumps off, and not just freedom, but the word liberty, because our liberty is found in the ability to self-rule and to use the Constitution. And it's what makes us great, and it unifies us, and it makes our society great, because you break that, we all are in agreement. That's what the Constitution said. You broke it, you're out. Hey, this is what the Constitution said, and oh, that's what you did? You're good. That's allowable. And we let that in. It's in or it's out. So when you take a group of people that write a constitution for their own party, and they go, but that will not get us the power to put us in office. Well, what are we going to do? Just close the book, and let's just do what we want.
Book.
Right.
And that right there.
Sua sponte, I do what I want, baby.
We got a
And that is, everybody ready for this? That's democracy, because the mob got its rule.
Mob vote. Mob,
right.
mob
see,
mentality.
See the bloody French Revolution.
There
That's
you go.
Democracy. As soon as you have the numbers, then you can do whatever you want. That's why John Adams said, the Constitution is for a moral and an upright people, and is wholly inadequate to govern any other. Because like you were saying, it's we've talked about it on this channel before, but liberty versus freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People think we don't have freedom in the United States. We were designed to have liberty. And it's a very distinct, like, freedom, I can do whatever I want to do, no fences. Liberty is I have the freedom to do the things that I know I ought to do. That I should do. Because remember, like, the reason our founding fathers came over here, Puritans all, Christians all, and the Anglican Church, the Church of England, would not let them worship God the way that they saw in the scriptures that they were supposed to. And so now we must go to a place where we can be free to do what we ought to do for God.
To have the liberty to do.
If that pisses you off, I'm glad it does. Your nation was built as a Christian nation.
And let's talk about, just for a second, remind everybody, what is the nickname we give to the writers of that Constitution? The framers. Operate within this. You have the liberty to be in here. You have the liberty to vote. You have the liberty to choose who will represent you in this republic. You have the liberty to get involved in the politics yourself. You have the liberty to the things that it gave you. So now do it. You have the liberty for a gun. You have the liberty to speak out. You have the liberty to worship your God, even in the public place.
Well, and it was we're recognizing that you have these liberties by virtue of being a human being, by being a child of God, now we're framing this document to protect them and
The
to say that
framers,
we recognize this,
The
right?
framers.
Not that we're giving you these liberties. They were saying we recognize that you have these liberties,
right?
And we're protecting them. And so anytime that somebody, and the other thing too, is the Constitution, if not followed by all of us that agree upon it and have this contract together in the United States, is just a piece of paper, guys.
You make it
As
very old piece of paper, but
as flimsy as toilet paper right now, and it could be used for the same function.
Probably
there
not.
are people who
if
are
we don't
actually
come
doing
to you
that.
and protect
I was
it.
gonna say probably
There are
not.
people who are doing that.
It might turn to dust, but flake apart, and that wouldn't be great.
All
Now,
right.
if you do not,
Well,
can I say one last thing?
Go ahead.
For the summation,
One last thing.
For the summation of
Sum it up.
everything, if you do not hold yourself to a higher power of what is just and what is right, i.e. the Bible or something like the Constitution that gives you a guideline, you're nothing but a lawless madman who will spin into madness. You will lose your mind.
Lawlessness, yes.
You will
Good
lose
word.
your mind over the debauchery that, even if you don't believe in it, the debauchery that the devil will pull you in. If you don't hold yourself to a higher power, he will steal you away. And that's what
That's the whole you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
That's right.
Argument.
That's right. All right, that's going to wrap up this segment of what we do. We're going to take a break right here and right now. So if Kay will get our sound effects ready, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Gotta pay the bills.
No sound effects?
It's coming, I swear. It's
And our audience is going, what?
I'm sorry. Wait, it should be coming now.
What? Oh,
I think.
oh,
Here it is.
oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Internet, don't fail me now. You're failing me. No. I can't do anything that it won't let me do. Oh, wait.
Oh, American, do you have that overflowing patriotism? Do you bleed red, white, and blue? Do you have so much testosterone that you could loan some to some mamby-pamby Gen Zer and still have some to spare? Have I got a drink for you? Introducing Liquid Freedom Coffee. Yeah, Liquid Freedom Coffee is a unique blend of Arabica and Colombian coffee that is as bold as you are. In fact, Liquid Freedom Coffee is so bold that when you go to stir it, your spoon will stand as straight as a flagpole and as firm enough for Old Glory to fly on it. Yeah, Liquid Freedom coffee beans are roasted with old salty veterans, manly farmers, and ranchers of businessmen and women with backbones in mind. Burnt your taste buds years ago? Have problems with detecting certain flavors? No problem. Liquid Freedom coffee will bring your tongue back to life. And as an added bonus, we guarantee enough caffeine to make your hair tingle with American pride. So get your Liquid Freedom coffee and drink it with a fellow patriot today. Liquid Freedom coffee is not sold in stores or online and is a figment of the CFCN imagination. Get your pound of Liquid Freedom coffee today.
Woof.
It'll free your bowels, I can tell you that.
Some potent stuff.
All right. Changing a little direction here as we head into this part of the program, and that is talking something about our faith. And what I want to bring up, there's quite a few denominations out there, and it's very clear in the Bible. If you were to look up, Kay, if you can get us a print to put Ephesians chapter 2. Verses 8 and 9.
I will work on that.
If you could put that up on the screen for me, because I mean, we went to go do something like this last time, and
it took
I
a
don't know what
second to
happened
get to it.
But
We've been great
there
to know
are
this
folks
sooner,
that
but
will-
okay.
Yeah, I should have done that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's fine. We'll get
I
there.
would have if you were sitting where you normally sit, but you're not here.
I could say the real problem of how we ended up here, but that, we'll only be blaming Chris, so I shall not.
How did that happen?
I don't know why I'm taking frag now.
I don't know. But have you ever had that conversation with somebody where they said to you, you start talking about that issue of heaven, and hey, if you stand before God in His holy heaven, and He were to judge you, would He let you in, or would you be condemned to hell? And there's a lot of people that would go, well, I think I've done enough good things in my life that He would actually let me in. I think my yin yang is in such a way that that God would see me good. I've done more good than I have evil, and doesn't your good outweigh your evil, right? My karma is going really, really well, and all that other kinds of stuff. And
Yeah, I got
bottom
it pulled up on BibleGateway.com for you.
oh
Over here.
okay anyway, and so yeah, everybody's taking a look at that as, what is that? And you get a lot of people that start my karma, and there's people that actually think that if my good outweighs my bad, that's what my eternal existence is based upon.
Right. Like you got that scale, right? And you're like, as long as I have enough stuff over here in the good column.
And quite frankly, folks, that scale just does not exist in the Bible. It's just not there. In fact, the Apostle Paul, he writes, and there it is up on the screen, Ephesians, and it's been highlighted for you, verses 8 and 9. It's, for by grace you have been saved, and saved there means rescued from death, for eternal life. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is a gift of God, not a result of works. There's the big deal, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. Bottom line, you can't go around and say, I've done this
you ain't
and
good
that
enough, Bubba.
and my good is going to outweigh my bad. No, that's not how it works. That's not how anything is going to work. It's just not going to be that way. God's word says that. There's, if you go to somewhere where Jesus taught, Matthew chapter 5, I believe it's verse 16, you're supposed to let your light so shine, and so that men will see your good works and then glorify your Father which is in heaven. We do good things because our heart belongs to God, and we want people to see God through the things that we do. And that's the way that it's supposed to work out. And that's the way people are supposed to Anyway, tonight, what I wanted to kind of bring up for a few minutes here is to talk about that very thing, about people thinking, oh, I got to do good. I got to do good. I got to do good. And the more that I do, then God's going to take notice of me. And that's the very idea. Doing good is not what gets God to notice you. You want to do good, but that's not how you get God to notice you. And so what we want to bring forward is the idea that what do you get in order, or what can you do in order to get God to have to get his attention? And it's like, hey God, I'm down here. I want to have this relationship with you. Hey God, I want to know you. I hear all these other people talk about you. I hear all these other people that say that they believe in you. God, listen to me for a minute. Hey God, how do I get your attention? Because you will not get God's attention by doing good things. He likes it that you do good things, but that's not what gets his attention. it starts with the idea. Go through that scripture really quick. Okay. Can you flash it back up there for me, Chris? Keyword goes right here. Oh, did you close out of it? There you go. Grace. It is by grace that you are rescued. Grace means unearned favor. There's nothing that you can do to do anything about it. Grace means that God took notice of you just because he already cares about you. There's not one thing, there's not a good thing that you can go out and do that can make God say, oh, I hear you down there. You know what? You caught my attention. No, grace is favor that God already gave you, and you never deserved it in the first place. That's number one.
Deserve it now.
Yeah. You don't deserve it now. And even after God rescues you, you want to know what we all end up coming to the conclusion of? We still don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Even afterwards, God rescued me. He did that thing for me, and I started believing in him. So it says, for by grace are you saved through faith. I started believing in him. That thing about Jesus being alive, believe it. That thing about Jesus Christ being the Lord of my life, I believe that. That thing about that he died for me, and if I ask for forgiveness of my sins, I believe that. It's written in God's word, is why I believe it. But it's through that faith, because I believe it, that I end up being rescued from death. And by the way, this isn't my own doing. No. All this has been a gift from God. In fact, the Bible tells us that we are rescued, and this plan for us being rescued was before the foundations of the world. Before the world was ever made, this plan was made. Before the world was ever made, God knew me and knew what I needed in order to find this gift. It was not anything that I've ever done. I can't go out and do a bunch of good stuff. It will never work. Because if it's about what I did, I could go walking around all day and go, yo, man, right here. I got God's attention.
Yeah.
I want to tell you how good I am. Now, you'll find that kind of stuff in Greek mythology. You'll find that kind of stuff in Roman mythology. You'll find that kind of stuff in Hindi. You'll find that kind of stuff in the Muslim religion.
Chinese.
But that is what sets Christianity, or followers of Jesus,
right?
Because a lot of people get hung up on that word Christianity. That drives me up a wall. But that's what you will find, the people who are followers of Jesus, why that faith is different than all those others, because there's not a thing that I can do. He already loved me and already set all that plan in motion. I just have to pick up that thing of faith and believe. That's all I got in this. That's all I got in this. I just have to choose to believe in him. That's it.
I think next week you should talk about James then, and talk about how faith without works is dead, and then really blow people's minds, because you're like, well, I thought you said last week. I thought you said last week not of works, and then now James is saying that I have to do stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You have to do something. You actually have to put in work to get benefit out of. No, you don't have to put in work to get benefit, but you're asked to. And if you truly put yourself into being forgiven and following Christ, then you'll do it with a loving heart, and you'll do the works that he's asked you to do. Oh my gosh. I love him and have a relationship with him, so I'm gonna be a nice person and do what he says.
Your faith and doing things out of your faith are connected together in two links and are just as equal, just like when Jesus said that the greatest two commandments are equal. It's exactly the same thing. That is, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And the second one is just as equal. Love your neighbor as yourself. Can't separate them. People have a problem. I know when people are playing around with their faith, because they go, oh, I love God, I love God. Oh my goodness, did you see? Well, even in our politics, I listened to a lady actually say that, she did not have a condemning heart, not a condemning heart at all. But Donald Trump
same breath
should have been shot in the forehead. Right. But I see people who...
I think liberal Christians are just the worst.
They are. They are.
Because it's like you are missing. You know the term "missed by an inch, missed by a mile," right?
Right.
Like you guys are missing by hundreds of miles. Like we're not playing the same sport in the same. You're out in left field with a hockey stick. Like,
yeah. Or maybe outside the park with a hockey stick. I mean, you're not necessarily sometimes even in the park.
I do want to talk for a second though about, since I did just make the joke about how liberal Christians are the worst, and we're talking about love your neighbor as yourself. The type of biblical love that we're talking about, right, is the ability to look at a person and care about what's best for them above, like to put what's best for them above your own wants and desires. Like if I can do that, that's a mature type of biblical love that you have. Right. And that doesn't mean I have to be nice to you to do that. In fact, just like a doctor can look at you and be like, I'm going to do this and it's going to hurt you, but I have to do it to help you in the long run because it's what's best for you. And so it's like, yes, I can hold these two views mutually that, it's like communists are the worst. But you know what? I love somebody that has that mindset enough to fight to change the system around them to
help
keep
them.
the country, because I'm trying to do what's best for you and ultimately what's best for all of us.
Right.
Above
live an example.
Above whether or not I care that you like me or to say nice things to you.
Okay, Medic, I'm going to bring you in on this. Hopefully I jog your mind about the right story, but please don't. The Kefleck story with the dislocated hip back when you were in the hospital. Okay. You can tell as much, but I want you to make application with that with this. What kind of a doctor would you be to let somebody walk around with a dislocated hip?
Right. Well, they can't walk, which is part of the problem.
Right. Couldn't support weight on it. Literally, couldn't do anything. To leave a person in that kind of position? What kind of a doctor would you be when all you needed to do was a certain rotation, but that was going to be painful?
She screamed.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell the story.
Through the drugs, she screamed. Yeah, so I was working in the emergency room when an elderly lady presented with a classic posterior hip location. And so for those of you guys that don't know and understand a lot about that, just like the shoulder, it's a lot harder to posteriorly dislocate your hip than it is to do it anteriorly or to the front, because of the way that the hip joint sits. It's got to, like, you're meant to take weight bearing that direction. So a lot of times, in order to dislocate it like that, there usually is a fracture that's involved with that as well. But as you age, and especially with females through osteoporosis and bone degradation and stuff like that, those joints can get, and with men too, it just tends to happen faster with females. But the joints can become loose and the ligaments loosen up, and so she dislocated her hip to the rear, and so her hip, the top ball, the head of the femur was sitting where her butt cheek is supposed to be. And so because of that, she's on the, she's laid over on her left side because she can't even lay on her back with that with her hip like that, And so I got called in to help reduce the dislocation. And in order to do that, we put her on quite a bit of pain-killing drugs. And then one disassociative hypnotic drug, which is called ketamine, which doesn't actually do anything for your pain.
I said Keflex, but ketamine.
It doesn't actually do anything for your pain, but it separates your brain from reality. So you're actually in there, your brain's receiving all the signals, but it does this really wonderful thing in that I inject you with ketamine and it goes, and then you come off of the ketamine, and then everything that happens in between there just poof. Like you don't remember any of it because it's
and there it was,
from your memory.
Gone.
That's the third time we've reference that. But yeah, it was a surreal experience because I'm in there with the ortho surgeon, and he's like, do you know the rotation for this, the procedure on how to do this. And I was like, yes, I've read about it, you know. And he's like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. He's like, I'm gonna have you mount the bed, and he was like, get her knee like this, and we are going to, like, the thing with the rule of thumb, guys, is whenever you have dislocations, you rotate the opposite direction of the way that it's deformed and dislocated. Like, you're trying to put it back so it looks anatomically correct. So I was like, yep, knee down, rotate. And then we had to pull because her hip is contracted up behind.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you got to get it out
ligaments
in front
are
of the
and
joint,
so then we have
the
we have
ball
to
go back into it.
Pull it down so that it would slip back in. And so as I'm doing this poor lady is screaming and crying, and she's staring at invisible demons in the corner of the room, and I felt so bad.
They're hurting her.
Right. We were hurting her, but we had to do it to make it better. So anyway, you get that the medical literature literally says a satisfying click or a satisfying ka-chunk.
Clunk.
That's what it sounds like, clunk when it goes back in. And so that's what we got. And she went and she got radiographs, imaging, came back, and everything. Yep, it was in the right place. No fractures. We're good. And so I went in to check on her. 2 hours later, drugs all wore off, and the coolest thing that ever happened is I stepped in the room, and I was like, well, I'm coming back to check on you. And she was like, who are you? And I was like, haha, nobody.
Didn't she hurt so bad? Didn't you say she almost had a tear, I think?
No, she had tears coming out of her eyes. Absolutely, she had tears coming out of her eyes.
Yeah.
But she didn't remember any of it in the end, and that's the wonders of ketamine. But yeah.
Who are you? I was the imaginal demons in the corners.
I was the demons in the corner, lady.
Now we're chuckling, but let's make application with that, because it's exactly right. And that is God in his mercy and the way he loves us. Because he loves us, he will not allow us just to walk around. In fact, we can't function correctly with our metaphorical dislocated hips. To correct us, to help us, it may end up being painful to right the wrong. But how much better will our lives be because we do? And he does it because he cares.
Right.
Because he cares. That's the whole point of it. So, well, we've reached that other place again where we're going to take another break and hear from one of our sponsors. And so as we slip away, we want you to refresh your drink. We'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to see what Kay saw. Isn't that what we call this segment? What Kay saw this week?
No.
No? You changed it on me? Well, what's it called?
You could just never remember. Oh my word, it's things I saw on the internet. No, it's called, I didn't change it. It's things that I saw on the internet, okay? But we'll move on to our ads, okay? So
all right, and now a word from our sponsor.
Yes. You can't. Sinner, are you struggling with destructive sin? Does your heart take you to places you don't want to go? Are you doing things that makes your mama want to disown you? Then you need eternal assurance. Once you enter our assurance programs, we will find a plan that specifically fits your needs. Our owner has the ability to change all destructive behaviors from the inside out. Struggling with alcohol? No problem. Pornography? No problem. Habitual lying? No problem at all. There hasn't been an iniquity that hasn't been dissolved. Not only can eternal assurance change your desires and stop destructive behavior, but we can change your eternal destiny too. Yes. All plans come with everlasting life at no extra charge. Start your policy today by reading John 3:16 and believing it. You can do it. We can help. That is Eternal Assurance's stance. Are you in good hands?
There you go. Hey, we didn't do any copyright infringements there, did we?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it every single time, and we've said it so many times that I guess, nothing's changed. So, alrighty, here we go.
Nobody's
Can we get Dennis Haysbert to read that?
I'm I'm going to take the silence as compliance. That's fine.
Oh, yes. And a year later, they're going to hit us up with it every single time.
Well, yeah, after we, to be honest with you, after we hit 50,000 or 100K, next year, they probably will.
Yeah.
All right. This technically applies to some of the videos, but I've been wanting to use this one because, well, I really like it. But
it's not the happy, happy dog, is it?
Not yet.
All right.
Things Kay saw on the internet.
Woot woot.
All right.
Woot woot.
First and foremost, I guess I'm having technical difficulties. You guys are seeing them fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not seeing them at all. So,
are you playing them right now?
Well, I'm getting ready to. Here's the first one.
Oh, we just saw the last one. Okay. Had amazing bass though. That was good.
That was the intro, Dad.
What are they doing over there? I don't know. They just keep saying random words, then this noise goes off like. Oh, I've heard of this before. It's called fonk. Fonk? That's a real word? Fonk? Yeah, apparently it's music from like 80 years ago in 2023 that people used in short form videos. They called that music. I mean, yeah, it goes insanely hard. That's not music, that's noise. Well, according to this, it was played because creators wanted people to not just hear their words, but feel their words. Feel their words. I think I get it, so just say some random nonsense and we'll do one. Okay, I don't believe in human rights. I think I get it. I get it now. Those are some of the dumbest words I've ever said, but with that music afterward, you feel it. It just makes the words so compelling. You try it now. Just say the stupidest thought on your mind. Communism was actually kind of tight. How does that work? How do I automatically agree with you when that music plays? I thought you said it was noise, not music. This isn't just music. This is art. Now play it again.
I hate everything about that so
Dad,
much.
When you brought up communism, I'm like, oh yeah, I got that video to show you.
And the thing that I hate
that was tight.
about it is how exactly correct he was. And I can't stand that I live in this world and in this timeline.
So that's how we'll get Gen Z to rise up. We'll just stuff and throw a bunch of funk behind it, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, let's go."
I'm not using that word.
Yeah, I'm not either. No. There's too many opportunities for mistakes there. That's for sure.
Okay.
That's not even where I'm going with it.
I have a song.
I respect myself too much.
I have a song that is technically of that genre. Know how to summon 3 little girls with it, literally headbanging and jumping around like crazy little, whatever you want to call them, in circles whenever I play this song.
Crib midgets.
Yeah, let's go with that. But all right, next. Yeah, I think I pushed the button.
Yeah, you did. You're just gonna have to give yourself some cue time and push it before you.
Okay, I'll do more hand motions then.
These are real products from Balenciaga. The $700 towel skirt. It's literally just a towel. $1,850 chip bag. $2,450 super destroyed wide leg jeans.
Those are mom jeans from the
biker
90s.
Boots. $1,350 toolbox clutch crossbody, so you can look like a worker. Or really step it up a notch with this $2,024 Balenciaga leather trash bag. Or, for more of an everyday look, there are these very real $2,990 shopping bags. Like the grocery store ones. Except these are better. Because they're expensive. Did we do it?
From Balenciaga. From Balenciaga, yeah.
Balenciaga and their ties to pedophilia are pretty well entrenched at this point. So it's just anything they do is automatically evil, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, you guys are gonna have to tell me this. Is that a real thing?
Yes, Balenciaga is a real thing they always bring out. Specifically last year, what he's talking about is they brought out a line of teddy bears, like Build-A-Bear or Care Bear type-esque things, and they did a whole BDSM style with leather straps, and they had toddlers playing with
Oh,
them.
was that
Yep.
Balenciaga? I remember that.
Balenciaga.
I remember
But
that.
they
Okay.
also sell
High-end
you-
Italian fashion.
Yeah,
Well,
they
I
also
mean,
sell
not
you
so,
a piece
not
of
so
tape.
high-end, but...
No, they also sell you a roll of clear tape for $4,000 because it has
Those
their
are-
name on it.
So was she real? Was those real products that they're
Yes,
trying to
you
push?
Yeah.
Yes, and people do buy them.
I don't know who.
I
That
mm,
okay.
trashy
I
people
just
with
lost.
hundreds of
I just
dollars-
lost
thousands of dollars.
intelligence watching.
I feel like that's what
her
happens
whole
every week
thing-
we do this with her.
No,
I'm
that's
bringing you down to my level, and then gonna beat you with experience. It's great.
Yeah,
No.
no. I
Thus making me smarter by comparison.
Just by comparison. Whole shtick
that-
on TikTok is to remind people about what Balenciaga's doing with all of their thousands of dollars. I think the cheapest
That-
thing is like $800.
that is seriously a
Speaking
waste
of-
of my time.
Speaking of, we crossed the Rubicon. We do have a CFC TikTok now, guys. It's
Oh.
at CFC_GB. We drop all the clips over there. So if you're TikTok folk,
I feel like he's
I bit the
stabbing
bullet.
himself.
You
I
finally
said, can you see how it makes my there's an aftertaste to those words.
Where you're stabbing
Nah,
yourself
nah.
slowly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We gotta. What was that clip in? Was that Liar Liar when he couldn't get this pin is because he couldn't get himself to say it. He wasn't allowed to lie. It's like we got ourselves a
Young man, do you think you can continue this trial?
No. Are you?
Are you
No,
able?
he says, "Are you physically capable of continuing,
continuing
this
this
trial?" Was that the
trial.
way the judge and he was like,
Yes.
"That's
One of
a
my
great-
favorite parts of the movie.
That's a great movie, man. That movie is so underrated.
It
And then
is.
the dude finds him in the bathroom. He's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm kicking my." "Do you mind?" Oh, jeez. That whole movie was just great.
All right. Are there any more?
Oh, tons more. We gotta get through them slowly but surely. Here they come.
You just have to conveyor belt click them so that we can get this madness over with here.
something like that.
All right.
You made the word shadow. I know.
Whoa! He just disappeared into that wall, dude.
You know,
He should have
White
smiled though.
shadow.
Yeah.
No, Dad. Shadow.
I
You
love- I love
invented
how,
the word shadow, didn't you?
I love how super black African people just lean into it and they just make fun of it. You're like,
Yes.
see, a little bit of racial humor it brings us all
goes
together.
a long
actually.
way.
If we can all laugh about it again.
Yeah, just laugh at ourselves
Yeah.
because it's true.
It's
Well, that's what I'm saying.
true.
My rule is I laugh at myself and that gives me the permission to laugh at everybody. As
Yeah.
long as I can laugh at me.
If I can laugh at myself,
Well,
I can laugh at everybody else.
Exactly.
Again, it's
I don't let
because we're
myself off
just
the hook.
being honest here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Right.
You're right. That's the way I look. That's the way I am.
Okay.
You ought to see you from this angle.
I'm gonna let. I'm clicking. I'm gonna press play, but continue talking until it.
All
pops
right,
up.
we're working on it.
guess.
Press play. Do
But
it.
yeah.
Let's
Like,
kick
you
this
get-
pig.
Just need a
That's
little
fine.
conga music in the background.
Yeah.
I don't think
That's not conga.
music.
I don't care what anyone tells me in this
conga.
world. Every kid now looks like an alpaca. Every kid in high school, 17 years old to 28, looks like this.
You stand here and listen to this. He is absolutely
You
right.
haven't seen that guy just hanging out on the street on a skateboard? Or maybe
That stuff's coming back around though, because I mean, when I was in middle school, like the long shaggy hair.
Yeah,
was
but
the
it's
thing.
not like the Bieber where it's flat and pushed to the side. It's straight and then flipped up a little bit with a part in the middle. You have to have a part.
permed a little.
Or those, right? They're doing those fuzzy uppercut. That looks so stupid.
It
You look
does.
like an eraser, kid. You
No,
look like I want to
he
flip you
looks like an
upside down and
alpaca.
smear you across the daggone page to get rid of all my mistakes.
And then every one
Yeah.
of them that you see, you got to go, and watch out, they spit.
Yes. Yeah. That's another great
All right.
reference.
Oh my gosh. Here comes the next one. Slowly but surely.
That guy was on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true, though. It's true.
And here is Mester.
Oh, I love
Germany,
these.
his first attempt in the javelin in the F41
I love
category.
these so much.
And he's hurled that one well beyond 30 meters, nearer to.
I have a really huge thing for midgets. You guys, you need to know this about me. I love this. I love the ones too. Where,
that was Gulliver.
Yeah, I love the ones too
where
they're like doing the battle ropes, and then it like flashes back, and it's like some dude's like shoelaces.
Yes, I've seen that one.
Those are so good.
We have it now on quote here at CFC. Chris has a thing for midgets.
Oh, I do.
We're just,
yeah,
this
is a well-known thing on the internet.
This is
just
documented. Okay.
Freaky.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you missed the one where I got
midgets.
all of
Midgets
the
are
midget
hilarious.
wrestlers. I had one of the midget wrestlers introducing themselves, and Dad's like,
"Oh, nice."
Oh my gosh. So sorry.
I had a pretty good meme a few weeks ago that had midget wrestling in it.
Well, do you remember when we were doing a thing on the guns and there was those two midget guys shooting off?
PepsiCo just officially recalled sugar-free Shua Peepees.
Nobody correct him. Please, nobody correct him. Let's all instead Shua Peepees ginger ale from now on.
Do we need to correct that for our audience, or do we just leave that hanging?
No.
I'm with them. You know what?
It's
In
Shua
solidarity,
Peepees now.
you're right. I'm gonna leave that.
Okay.
We're just gonna drop
somebody,
this right here.
Since I know how to say it, somebody's gonna have to teach me how to say it the wrong way.
Right.
What did he say?
Shua Peepees.
Shua Peepees.
Shua Peepees. Oh, someone actually did.
Okay, let's just move on.
No. Someone did Shua Peepee. It was, they
Yum. Let's
move
on to the next one. Let's just move on.
All right.
I think it's time we move on.
Yeah, I think
it's coming.
Press
It's
X
in the
to
works.
sit, weary traveler. Nah. What are you doing? Stop that. Bro is pulling out the forbidden technique.
Did they teach you that in the military?
Yeah, you do whatever you got to do, man. I'll kiss you on the mouth right now, Kenny Rogers. Don't come over here. I'm crazy.
That was awesome. He almost broke the hold with that.
He did. The guy was like, well, he also turned around and he was like, I won't punch you in the nuts. You keep tickling my feet. The guy was like,
you gonna
okay,
fight dirty?
Right.
I'm gonna fight dirty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was that old joke about the dude is like, man, I tell you what, like
the pretzel hold?
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you bite yourself in the nuts, dude.
Nobody can get out of that hold. Well,
All right. The next one's coming. Just keep laughing.
It's on its way. Yeah, you got the timing down on it. You got the timing down.
Sure, I do.
Better.
Show
It's
me
just
your
a little bit
completely
better.
useless secret talent.
Well, sometimes if it's the longer one.
What the
Ho! Wait a minute.
I don't like it. Take
I'm not
it
going
away.
to do it.
You like the song you chose to do it to, though?
Dude, that was... I don't like the sound effects that he put over it, too. It sounds like his eyeballs were trying to go through peanut butter or something.
Yeah.
This is gross. Sound like a dog just pleasuring himself over in the
Oh,
corner.
Okay, Mr.
come on.
Medic.
Children's,
What do you say to
children's show.
that?
Children's show.
This is not a children's show. Hang
Not
on.
anymore.
That's true. It was that guy's eyeballs.
To the guy's eyeballs rolling through wet peanut butter for a dog to pleasure itself. Yes, let's add this all together. All right, just two more. Just two more.
Did you see how she
Home
was
stretch.
able to keep that train going there? She
Oh,
went from the
talent.
one to
She's
the
getting
next. That was good.
She's good. She is getting good.
It is. It was really good.
Star Wars Lego set Death Star. But can he chug a sparkling water and not burp?
He's just gonna blow up.
He's a bird.
Yeah, he's
First
gonna-
off, it's taking him too
Oh
long.
my gosh. What do I do?
All right, that's fun. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
The absolute
Well, he
panic.
earned that whole thing.
I do.
Absolute panic.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna take your phone away. No more doom scrolling for you.
Thank you.
He earned
Yes.
that one, didn't he?
I'm just gonna suddenly see like Chris pop on my phone and just slap TikTok off. Like, oh well, that happened. No.
Yeah.
So these guys, I have shown Dad a couple of these guys, and there's the smart guy, the dumb guy. You feel
there's a sort of smart guy, and then there's a dumb guy.
Oh, he's irredeemable.
Ephesians chapter 2 today. Kay's like, he's irredeemable. Let him go. Cut slings. He's too far gone, folks.
No,
Reprobate.
Yeah.
He's irredeemable for brains wise. He just needs. You'll
This is true.
just wait.
We do say that there's a thing in the military. You can't fix stupid. I can make you.
I didn't
can
know
make you
there was
stronger,
an ocean
faster.
in Chicago. There's not. Big lake. Big lake. It's not an ocean. Literally the Lake of Michigan.
I have been in a few lakes in my life.
Yes.
They're brown, and I can see the end.
Yes.
That was a ocean.
Lake Michigan.
What's the difference between a lake and an ocean?
You're kidding? Or
I'm
just
dead
like-
ass. Because if the lake that was in Chicago is a lake, I don't know what a lake and an ocean is.
A lake is completely enclosed by land.
Isn't everything enclosed by land?
And it's fresh water.
Are you?
Well, I mean,
with me
actually,
right
there's
now?
a salt lake.
Technically,
too.
everything's
There
enclosed
are
by
salt
land.
lakes,
No,
yeah.
all of land's enclosed by water. How if the Earth?
Hold
is
on, are we doing a riddle?
If the Earth is 70% water, how in the hell would you say the
can't be
30% is
real.
enclosing the 70? The 70 is enclosing the 30.
Yes or no? When we were in Chicago, did you see the other part of the land on that ocean lake?
It's a big ass lake.
That's
no
an ocean.
These are
That's
the
a
type
lake.
of people
Did
that,
it run
by
out to
God,
something?
buy like flat
to
Earth theory.
Canada.
Exactly.
More land, lake.
So to add a couple more.
It's because of people like that flat Earth theory like exists.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
Like I've
Okay.
been in an airplane and you can see that the land is flat under you, and you're like, listen, I can take you online right now and show you a plane that is flying from Tokyo, Japan to Seattle, and it
goes like this.
Two things to
there
that.
There are pictures of the Earth from the moon. Like,
Yeah. And it goes like this.
Some people
I
are
think I
like,
got
no, the
smaller
moon
than
is
this.
flat too. No, I just saw one. The first thing ever I saw on him was, what is the that you were least afraid of? And the guy goes, fish. It's like fish aren't an animal. And so that was the entire argument there. And another one was, he goes, rain isn't real. I don't believe that like rain is a real thing that evaporates up into the clouds and then falls back out. Because if it did that, then like where would the ocean go? The ocean would run out. Because like, what do you mean? The rain falls back down into the ocean. The water falls back down. And he goes, no. It goes on like grass and concrete and stuff. And there's more concrete than ocean. And is so utterly astounded every single time about how are
it's
you
gotta
this
be an
dumb.
act. I'm not
No.
buying it. I'm not buying it. It's got to be an act, because if it's not, then there's a couple of things going on. Number one, this guy would be so. First of all, it'd be so actually retarded, and yet combine that with the fact that his narcissism is off the charts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That he's willing to be that retarded in front of people for internet clout.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you're telling me that and then his
I'm with
other
you,
friend,
man. I'm with you.
his other friend, it must be like a heartless like bastard, because if
To
your
take
friend
him
is
in
that
front of
dumb,
everybody.
and then to take him in front of people like a mental midget and be like, "Hey, everybody, look at my retarded friend! Ha, ha, ha,
yeah.
isn't he
That's
funny?" Like
I don't know what
everything about that is
No,
messed
it's-
up.
It
It
is.
is very messed up, but no, that is every single skit that it is of. So what did you think this was? And his thing
They
is,
gotta be skits, though.
Okay.
no, his whole thing is there's no way that you know the answers to all of these random questions. And his white friend is like this, and he's like, "How are you getting this right? There's no way this is common knowledge. Like, what is bullcrap? You're bullcrapping me." Like,
No, Kevin Bacon was
no-
not in Footloose. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah,
Main
that's
character.
basically it. And then it's like it's not. It's crazy. And
wait a minute, though.
God.
Wait a minute, you two.
I'm glad we're done with that, though.
Yeah, that's true. Wait a minute, you two, though. Check this out. You think those people are stupid, right? But let me throw this at you for our green people out there that water is disappearing. And you can go to them and go, did you not take 8th grade science? Because in 8th grade science, you have the law of conservation of matter, which says matter is neither created nor destroyed. It merely changes form. The easiest one to trace is
what about dark matter?
Water. And so now we got the ocean levels are dropping. Where's the water go? It's evaporating
really
and going out the ozone. Then
really bad
the law
your
of
mama
conservation
butthole
of
joke.
matter doesn't exist, if that's what you're
No.
saying.
Right.
Okay,
Well, the
that
stuff
it's
that
going
goes
out
through
into
the-
space and it's moving because then we're losing matter. It's changing form and it's leaving the earth.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
Wouldn't the vacuum of space not allow for gases to? Never mind. I'm not gonna.
Okay, no, look.
All
they're
it takes is
still
a
there.
little thinking, and you can
Look,
go.
Which is
Sometimes
why
that doesn't
all
sound
the
right.
planets have their gases, like whatever their atmosphere is made up of, like are contained because of the vacuum of space.
Of their own planet.
A few Reddit stories to go for, and I'm gonna ruin slightly one of them because talking about the airplanes goes, "What is the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say in public?" And it goes, "I kid you not. I heard a lady say like, oh yeah, my husband's over on a flight to Tokyo, Japan. They got talking about it. She didn't realize that the plane flew over there. She just thought that the plane went up into the sky. Earth rotated under it, and then they just landed when it got over Japan."
I mean, that would be the slowest way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it has. If you go the right direction, it can be done that way.
I guess in all technicality, you could hover in a helicopter with enough fuel long enough.
I know.
Because like you guys know what the Coriolis effect is, right? Or the Coriolis effect. It's a thing that extreme long range shooters have to deal with, and you're talking about whenever you start shooting on the other side of like 1,600 meters, then you have to, and it's the curvature of the Earth, and the fact that this projectile is going to be in flight so long that what the target that I am shooting at is not going to be in the same place when the bullet arrives over there as it was when
because
I
of the
initiated
length
the flight.
and speed.
Yeah.
Distance and speed.
And because the Earth is ever so slowly rotating.
Slightly
rotating.
rotating.
We're shooting, but like I said, that's when you start shooting out like on the other side of a mile. These are extreme long
crazy. But that's
Wow.
so cool. Down just the absolute perfect balance that God has made the world. Been able to prove, in theory. Well, that's no longer theory now. It's a fact. Says our technology is improved.
It's called the finely tuned argument.
Yeah.
Like you got to look at like the exact distance the Earth is from the sun. If it was even inches closer or inches further away, like
Not
our weather
even down
patterns
further
wouldn't
from
sustain
inches.
life. If
Yeah.
you look at the amount of water that there is on the planet to land mass, if you look, I mean, it's just like everything about the Earth, the speed that the Earth rotates at is at like just this exact. And I mean, the Bible talks about it, about the heavenly bodies like singing God's praise and everything, and it's like absolutely true. And then you come to find out that it's like, oh my gosh, everything in the universe does emit a certain frequency. David talked about that,
which is a tone, and some of them even have rhythms.
It's wild, man. Have you ever tried like reading the Bible? and I love it when people bring you this stuff and they're like amazed by it.
Yes.
Oh my word! The Earth is conging in a line to praise God.
Did you know this was in the Bible? Well, yeah.
Now, like, did you know that?
But,
I'm glad that you know it now.
The problem is I tried telling you, and you said I was crazy.
This is the reaction. Get it now. Reaction.
Blown.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
That's a good one. Now do creationism versus evolution. Wait.
Anyway.
Moving right along.
Well, that's going to be where we wrap it up for this week. We came out on a good note. I don't know, though. Do you think she should have ended on the midgets? That would have been, like a high note,
Would have
whatever.
been a good anchor, yeah.
I could
There's
actually
a high note.
I could
There's
watch
not
the
three
midgets
of them
again.
stacked. It's only a high note if it's 3 or more midgets stacked on one another, okay?
That might be,
Okay.
might be some
Is that what
truth
we're going to
there.
call that? We'll call that the high note.
Yes.
So, Chris, take us out. What should people do with this?
Hey, please, guys,
thing?
go ahead and jump in the comments. Let us know what your favorite thing that Kay saw on the internet was. Let us know what you thought about the stories today on the Who's Who and what's new. Let us know. Like, did your financial portfolios, did they take a hit? Are you doing good? Let us know, man. And if you got any prayer requests, you can always hit us up with those too, because when you follow us on social media, like, that is actually us that you're talking to every single time that you reach out. Make sure that you are following us across all the pages. Like I said, if it is a social media thing, we're there. Unfortunately, even on the
Say it.
It's the Tic Tac.
On the Tic Tac. We're even over there, guys, at CFC_GB, at Common Freaking Sense, Instagram, over on YouTube, Rumble, over on the social media formerly known as Twitter. We're over all those places, guys. So make sure that you go follow us, hit us up, leave us a comment, message us, and we will get back to you. And then if you could, give the video a like, right, or wherever you're listening to this, whatever podcast form you're listening this on, please give it a like. Make sure that you're following, make sure you're subscribing, you stay up with us each week,
And then give it the Rumble spiel.
Yes, and then every Friday night over at Rumble, we have a live stream that we've kicked off. We partner with another page called I Came With Fire podcast to bring you, this is all that we've been working on in the past. We've been telling you guys about building the Common Sense Network. We are bringing other pages up under that umbrella, and I Came With Fire podcast is our first big partnership that we were able to form. We've got a live stream going now. It's called the Live Fire. It happens every Friday night exclusively on Rumble. It's got much more of a late night comedy bro kind of feel to it, for those of you guys that are into it. But hey, come over and hang out with us there. The chat is always a good time. We've actually started to get a pretty loyal base of dudes that come and hang out with us every week over there. So make sure that you're over there, because I do believe we've got you scheduled in for not this coming Friday, because we have a thing that we're going to be at together, but the Friday after that, I believe that you're scheduled on.
That's what I've been told. So everybody skip the Kimmel thing, and you don't want to stay up and hear that. Check us out on Livewire.
You're not going to have any fun with that anyway.
Not anymore. Dude's totally lost it. So, Kay, wrap it up. Say your goodbyes for tonight.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And I say bye, y'all, guys. Have a good day. Have a good night.
All right. And this is me checking out, everybody. Thank you for being a part of the show. And sign up and hit the bell and do all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you next week right here. Common Freaking Sense.